Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have a lot to talk to you guys about today. I have planner updates, I have life updates, I've got a lot of stationery to share with you. So let's dive right on into it. Now there are three planners in front of me right now. And if you've been around my channel, you know that I've been trying to condense things into one planner or one like foldable system. And this is very much not the norm for me. So let's start off with what you last saw, which was my A6 planner. So this is my A6 size planner. I have two notebooks in here at the moment. This is the A6 Common Planner from Sterling Ink. I was really enjoying this planner because it is so compact. I have the horizontal weekly setup, and a little example, what I would do is I had my running to-do list, I would put my daily to-do list, appointments, budgeting, meal planning, all that type of stuff on the other side. And this was working really well. This was a nice setup for like the to-do list aspect of just cut and simple, this is what I need to get done today. And then in the back is when I would do my daily time blocking and stuff like that. And this was nice because I would sit down each night and I would, write out what I wanted and stuff like that. And this was working great. And then in the back here, this is my journal. So this is my memory keeping journal. I've got a bunch of photos and like really personal stuff in here. I have kind of fallen behind on this. I've got quite a bit I need to catch up on. And that relates to some life update stuff I'll share with you guys more towards the end. I'm going to try to keep this as stationary focused as possible in the beginning. I do like this, but I feel like the size is too small. I don't have that same connection I was looking for, and I just think I need a little bit more space. Now, I'm not going to abandon it. I'm still going to fill this up. I've been working on backfilling, and I just need to write about the things I'm not ready to write about yet. And I'm working on that. So while this is not my everyday planner anymore, I'm still using it. I'm trying to start using this more for content planning because I would like to be a bit more consistent with my YouTube, my Instagram, all of that stuff. And I think if I have a dedicated space to put those thoughts, it'll be a lot easier. So I probably won't be showing this as much because it's going to be, quite frankly, a little bit boring. It's going to be brainstorming and, video ideas, stuff like that. So this is going to be more in the background, but I do still love it. I love this cover. I love how chunky it is, and my little charms are still adorable. But yes, I have abandoned my A6. And let's talk about why. I was so in love with the A6. And then Hemlock and Oak threw me into a spiral. So they released the pre-orders for their 2027 planners, and they have a lot more sizes this year, which is very exciting because I love Hemlock and Oak. I love the company mission. They're very sustainable, like sustainability focused with their paper and their sourcing and all of that, which I really admire. Also, the layouts I really loved. I loved the goal-orientated and kind of introspective journaling that they had in it. And their covers are gorgeous. Just, I love Hemlock and Oak. I'm a little obsessed. So when they released their pre-order lineup, I went into a spiral. I was trying to figure out how I could make the A6 work with the Hemlock and Oak because they're only releasing a daily planner for the A6. And I really need a weekly overview. I like seeing my week. It's how I segment things, and I think a daily planner, as much as I tried to find a way to make it fit, I don't think it would fit. I don't think it would fit everything I need it to, and it would probably feel a little claustrophobic. Now, the next step up is a B6, which I have in front of me right here, which I'll show you the size difference between those guys. It's just like a smidge bigger. It's more long, I want to say. But anyway, so the B6 is the next size up that they offered in a weekly. I spiraled about cover options and all these things, and then I realized I had a coupon with Sterling Ink and I got their complete planner, which don't tell me how I made these connections, but I thought, oh, I'll get the complete planner and I'll test out the daily aspect of it and the weekly aspect of it and see what I like, if the size works for me, and then I will pre-order my Hemlock and Oak based off that experiment. So this was very much an experiment, and when I open this up, please don't be scared. Please don't be scared. Just keep an open mind and remember that this is paper. Now, with that in mind, I ripped the cover off of the complete planner. This was a hardcover book, but the hardcover will not fit in a true B6 size Moterm. That's what this is. This is the Espresso B6 Plus Moterm, the veg tan, which, oh my gosh, can we just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this cover is? But the hardcover wouldn't fit in here. You have to get an HP Mini, I believe, is the Moterm cover that will fit a hardcover B6, and that felt too big. When I was looking at it, I'm like, that feels too big. So immediately that took away the Hemlock and Oak hardcover B6 options. But they do offer a soft cover option, so that's still on the table. So I took the cover off and I Frankensteined this monstrosity before us. Like I said, don't be scared. I know she's rough. She's real rough, but this is just for the joy of experimentation. It's just paper. It's just paper. This is a hobby. I have to tell myself it's okay to experiment because it's fun and it's a hobby. So I made this cover out of some fabric strips that my sister had made into like a washi tape kind of thing. She took fabric strips and then put a sticky backing on them and like cut them up in these cute little washi style rectangles. And so I just took them and I kind of stuck them all over this cardstock, and then I wrapped the cardstock around it and I glued it to the back cover. I glued it here too and it didn't quite stick. We don't talk about what's going on right there, but it worked. It's fine. The main leather cover is what I look at. I don't even really look at that option. I don't really even look at this cover that often. So what is the complete planner? What makes it different? This has a weekly, and then it has all of the dailies right after. And I thought this would be a really cool way for me to experiment with the idea of using a daily option if I wanted to go that route, which I quickly discovered I don't. I need a weekly, and occasionally I might get like a notepad to do like brain dumps and daily stuff if I really need to, get stuff out of my head a bit more. But for the most part, the weekly is where I need to live. So that helped me narrow down. No, I do not want the Hemlock and Oak daily. I want the weekly. It is cemented in my brain now. And I pre-ordered it. So I'm very excited when August comes around to get my B6 Minimalist, and I got the Cloth Flex. So it's going to be a soft cover. It's going to go inside this Moterm cover. It's going to be glorious. I'm very excited. So how have I been using this planner in the moment? I am getting back into the vertical spreads, which has been really nice. I did like planning out my days, how I was one night at a time, but also just being able to see the overview of my week in this way is really refreshing. So this is what it looks like with the week filled out. I was sick last week. It was awful. So things got a little messy, but for the most part, this is how it's been looking. And then the daily pages I've been using for random notes and brain dumps, processing, whatever. I did try, let's see. Yeah, here's some pictures of my son in the garden. but I did try using this for journaling and I quickly fell off it. It was just too restrictive for me. I love the idea of it. It was really fun to experiment with, but practically I just can't sit down every night and journal like this. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't know. It was a fun experiment. I got some cool drawings like over here of photos from my phone. So a fun experiment, but it did show me, no, I'm not a daily person like this, and that's okay. But the weeklies have been really fun. I've done a few different experimentations, and this is what I've landed on. This is the week that we're on. I have my to-do list on the side here, and this is my running to-do list, so it carries over from the week before. Whatever I didn't finish, it just gets popped over here. I then have my weekly cleaning tasks, so vacuuming, cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, mopping, dusting, cleaning our cat's water, and then watering the house plants. This, once again, doesn't change week to week, so I can just transfer it over, and it's a really good way for me to stay on top of things and like have a broad overview. Next, I have my habit tracker, which I'll turn it sideways so you can see. Last week I was sick. This week I'm recovering from sickness, so I need to get back into it. But I have my vitamins, 60 ounces of water, brush my teeth twice a day, journal, meditate, and take my nightly magnesium. And then going into the daily column. At the top here is where I'm keeping my budget. So I'm having a running budget starting Friday, which is payday. I first calculate my bills, whatever payments I need to make, stuff like that, and I take it away. I then calculate how much I want to put into savings, and I take that away. After all of that, whatever's left over, I divide in half, and I assign to each Friday. So this week it's $260. That is going to be for my groceries, my gas, and whatever's left over is my fun money. And then each day I write down how much I spent, subtract it, and I carry over the new total into the next day and then into the next week. So currently I'm at $54. Our groceries are taken care of. Our laundry is taken care of. We have to pay for our laundry. And I'm hoping I can stretch this out till Friday, where I will add another $260. Hopefully that makes sense. This next part I'm gonna save because that's part of my life announcement stuff. But this is another little bracket I have at the top here. And then these squiggly lines represent my work schedule. I work from 7 to 1, Monday through Friday. And then I have my work to-do list. So I have certain things I need to do every day, and I try to put them in a time block that will realistically work. And then this is really nice because, for example, I'm working on returns right now, and I got caught up to a certain date. I can write down tomorrow, start returns for this date and stuff like that. So this is really nice. It keeps me on track, and it keeps me from getting sidetracked because I do customer service for a living, and it's very easy to get sidetracked because everything is the end of the world in customer service. And I have to remind myself that I need to help first come, first serve. Who reached out first, who's time sensitive, that needs to get taken care of before anything else. And then I have my daily tasks as well. And then I just plan out my day. So I put in the time block for right here, a home reset. I did the dishes, I tidied up the house, I kind of just got everything back to a good baseline. I'm filming right now, and then I'm gonna make some mushroom risotto for dinner. So I need to do my meal plan, but we're recovering from a sick week. Things aren't perfect, but we're getting there. And then at the 10 o'clock hour, I have a line marked out because 10 o'clock is when I would like to be in bed by. And honestly, there's nothing to really plan at this part of the evening anyway. So I put in a little line, and that's where my to-do list lives. I have been crossing out completely when I finish something because I find it's a lot more visually pleasing and like satisfying to be like, done, I did it. And I'm really trying to put even the simplest things like the dishes. I will write that down every day because I hate doing the dishes. But if doing the dishes means that I get to put a silly little slash in my silly little planner, I'm more likely to do the dishes. I also have to vacuum and film. I've done all of this except for vacuum. So how about we cross that off right now, and I will talk to you about a new addition. This is my very smudgy, as you can probably see, Lamy Safari All-Star. So I have had this pen for years. I got it from some special edition drop online. I didn't know anything about fountain pens, and it promptly got clogged, and in trying to fix it, I broke it, which was devastating. But beautiful thing about these pens is you can literally just buy a cheap one on Amazon, which is what I did. I got a cheap one off Amazon. I took the writing component out of it, and then I just put my pretty case on top of it. So I have my nice rose gold brushed metal case, and you would never know that this isn't the original mechanism that came with the pen. Now, I am using the cartridge that comes with this pen because I want to empty it so that I can refill it with ink I actually like. This ink smudges so bad. I try to set it and let it dry, but it smudges terribly. I got some really good tips off Reddit, which I'm gonna attempt, of like blotting and stuff like that. But yeah, I do not recommend the stock Lamy ink. It is awful. What I do recommend, and another fun thing, is I'm getting into inks a bit more. For, what was it, Mother's Day? No, Valentine's Day. Yes, Valentine's Day. My wonderful, beautiful husband got me, drumroll please, he got me a Lumos pen. So this is the Tom Studio Lumos. I have a fine liner nib on it right now, and I'm obsessed. It's so nice to write with. It's got a beautiful brushed metal finish, so it's really heavy, and I currently have it inked up with the sepia ink. This is what I have it inked up with. This is the sepia. I got this sample pack. Well, my husband got me a sample pack, so I've experimented with all these beautiful different inks. I also have extra cartridges for it, so I can fill these up and just swap them out. This one is Mallard, I believe. It's kind of like a bluish green, which is beautiful. And keeping it in these tubes keeps it moist, so that way when I'm ready, I could swap them out, and then boom, I have a new ink. I also have some extra cartridges for my Ren pen, which is their smaller version. And honestly, now I just want a dozen of these in every color possible. But the Lamy Safari, I'm gonna ink it up with the Tom Studio Pigment Black. This is the ink that I've been using for a long time in my Ren pen. So this is the Ren from Tom Studio. It's their compact everyday writing pen. It's almost like, I don't want to say ballpoint because it's not a ballpoint, but it's reminiscent of that in the writing feel, in my opinion. I've been using the permanent black and I love it so much. It dries quickly, it doesn't smudge, I can highlight over it. It's a gorgeous black. So I'm white knuckling through this atrocious smudgy ink so that I can eventually ink it up with this. Now I know I could get a refillable cartridge for Lamy. I've had poor luck with those in the past. That's what got clogged up, and you know, I don't know if it was user error or if it was the cartridge, but I've heard mixed reviews about them. But a lot of people recommend just refilling the basic cartridge. It looks like this. Refilling this with the ink that you like. So you can put a syringe in there and refill it. That's going to be an experiment for another day. And who knows, maybe I will try to get a proper ink cartridge for it eventually. They're not expensive. I'm trying to use what I have. But I'm dealing with this. Please don't judge my smudgy ink. It's just part of life. And the sepia that I have inked up I think is really pretty because it's a nice contrast on the page. Let me go back to when I was using Mallard. Oh, here we go. So this is Mallard. Also gorgeous, but I think it does blend with the black a little bit more than I would like. You can see I've got quite a few experimentation pages that I was doing. This is the Rambling Rose ink, which is very beautiful. And all of my, yeah, so this is Mallard, and yeah, some messy pages. This is my experimentation phase. I was playing with midliners or mild liners and all of that fun stuff. Let me see if I can find my ink swatch page I can show you guys. Okay, I put it in my journal, not in my planner. So these are the ink samples that I have. The Rambling Rose was the freebie, which is a lovely light pink, very dainty, very feminine. The New Forest I think I might be using next because it's a gorgeous deep green. The Mallard is kind of that blue sheen. And then the Ivy is another really gorgeous deep green. Damson, I'm not a huge purple fan, but I do like, once again, just like the deep colors. I really like the dark colors. I'm really new to inks, and so this is very much figuring out what I like, and I think I've got a good rainbow to pull from. Mulberry, I'm obsessed with. Mulberry, I need a gallon of. It is so gorgeous. And then we have the sepia right here. And when you get them from Tom Studio, they come in the most darling little vials that kind of make me feel like an alchemist. Like I want to get a little trinket shelf to put these up on. So this has been a really fun experiment. I am putting more Tom Studio pens on my wish list. But speaking of pens, and maybe this is a good segue into the third notebook, I have another new fountain pen. Don't ask me the name of it because I don't think I could pronounce it. But I have this inked up with that beautiful red color, Mulberry. Yes, so I have it inked up with Mulberry right now, and I think it's gorgeous. So before we open this up, I had some introspection recently. I have been kind of not struggling with, but contemplating, you know, my inner child and what I want to do to like bring me joy. Not necessarily career-wise, because I think career and passion are two different things in a way, which come together sometimes, which is great for people, but I don't want to feel like I have to turn my passion into a career. I want to just have fun and follow my creativity without expectation or without whatever. And thinking and journaling and all of this made me remember being a kid and playing pretend. I love to play pretend. I had my Polly Pockets, I had my Littles pet shops, and I would just make up stories. And then when I went into middle school, I devoured books like nobody's business. I was the reading kid. I read in the middle of class. I got in trouble for reading in class. I loved it. I've always loved books. And in college, I actually wrote a book. I wrote an entire first draft. I think it was like, I want to say 80,000 words. It will never see the light of day, let me say that much. But it was a kind of romantic murder mystery in a way. A girl had to solve her mom's murder by talking to ghosts. It was very fun to write, and that's the whole point, is it's fun to write. I'm always making up stories in my head just for the fun of it. It's like, oh, what if there was a book about this, and then that happened, and then this happened, and I just go on and on and on in my head when I'm doing dishes or I'm falling asleep at night. So I thought, you know what? Let's just start writing again. Let's put pen to paper and see what happens. So this A6 journal is my writing journal. It is purely for fun and for the sillies, and it is a vampire romantasy. It's much more fantasy plot driven than like romance, but I love a good romance. And so of course, for the pen for my vampire romance novel, I had to ink it up in red pen. Let me show you what that looks like. Once again, this is very vulnerable to show you guys because this is such a fun passion project, but this is my inner page. I've got the title of my book right here. Well, possibly the title of my book. I've got my main characters. I had these little photos. This is AI. I'm sorry. I couldn't find a good reference picture. I will replace it eventually, but that's what I have for right now for my main characters. I found this on Pinterest. And then I just have some little dashboard goodies. I have my chapter due dates when I want to have things written and finished by. My goal is to have the first draft done by July. We'll see how that goes. And then this is my word count tracker, and this is where you can really see that red ink. Look how beautiful it is. It's so dark and moody, and it just brings me great joy. So every day, you know, I have been trying to write, which is going back into my B6. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. That's what's up here, is I try to write in the morning before my son wakes up, before I go to work, when I just have a little me time. And I am putting at the top how many words I wrote each day as a little inspiration and motivation. And then this is my word tracker in this planner. So I, you know, write down my word track or my word count at the end of the session and then how much I added. I wrote almost 3,000 words the other day on the weekend, which was unheard of because usually I write, you know, either a little bit here and there or I do a big writing session, but that was really fun. Now, I won't show you guys any of like the plot and stuff like that just because I'm not ready to share that quite yet. It's still very rough, but it's really fun to think it over and stuff like that. But I did have this picture of a castle and I thought that was really fitting to put in here. This is not what the castle looks like in my head, but it's rough. And then I printed out some little mood boards of just what I think is inspiring the setting of the story and stuff like that. This is the world building tab. I've got tabs for each section. This is like all of the world building stuff. This I've got all my different characters and just some photos that make me think of them. And then in the back is where I keep just scrap paper. And then this, which once again, I am not going to show the words, but this is my book. This is everything I've written. I think I'm at like over 150 pages, like Word doc pages. And there's a lot going on here. And so whenever I finish a chapter, I print it out. I print it on a regular letter size. I fold it in half, glue it, rip it in the middle, and then I hole punch. So that creates the book format. And it's very satisfying, and it's my little reward for finishing a chapter. And this is making me very happy. You know, it's purely for fun. I would like to publish it one day professionally or just on my own. I don't know, but this is just for me, for my inner child, for my inner dreamer, and that's all I'm putting on it. If you want to hear more about that process, I'd love to share it with you guys just because I'm a little bit of a nerd with books and I kind of want to share that nerdy side with me more with you guys. But yeah, so that is why I suddenly have 3 planners that are floating around with me. So now let's talk about some life updates and why I've been gone. Life hit me in the face. We moved. So we are in a new apartment, which is wonderful. I have a desk now. I never had a desk in our last apartment for the 5 years that we were there. And one of the first things I wanted my own desk space. So that's very exciting. But yeah, moving was a lot. It was a lot with a toddler and working and, you know, all of the things. So I kind of had to take a step back and just focus on my home and my life and getting everything situated. And then we got sick. If you have toddlers or children, you've probably heard of hand, foot, and mouth disease. It is awful. You get like these pinprick sores on your fingers and toes and a sore throat that hurts like no one's business, and a fever. So my son got sick, I got sick, we were both miserable. In that same week, my son cut his finger on a can of green beans. He got into our recycling, and one of the cans, it didn't have the lid all the way off, and he grabbed it and sliced his finger, and I had to rush him to the ER, and it was a whole ordeal. He had to get stitches. He's only 2, so it's hard. You can't explain to him what's going on. He's just scared, and so that was very emotionally taxing. So I've just had a lot of things happening that have, caused me to not be able to post online, but I'm hoping that life, knock on wood, has settled down enough now that I can start posting again more regularly. I want to do more of these little chatty sit down with you guys with my planner and my stationery. And yeah. But yeah, that's what's been up with me. I hope you're doing well. Let me know in the comment section below how your planning system's going. And yeah, I really appreciate you sticking all the way to the end of the video. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.